You're listening to Passages, a podcast about great quotes, life, and the wisdom of the Bible. And now your hosts, Drew Kaiser, Jason Pulliam, and Tim Layton.
Welcome. You're listening to Passages. I'm Drew. I got Tim, Jason, and Patrick with me tonight. The gang's all here and we're ready. We have a lot of material to share with you. We're very excited about it. After our segments, we'll have a bad preacher segment. And of course, we always have a passage to conclude with. So get ready for a great program. You guys doing all right tonight?
Doing great.
Doing great. It's been a long week. I really wanted to go with the pet thing first, the animal, Critter Chronicles.
We're so excited.
I have my Critter Chronicles article pulled up.
Well, let's do Critter Chronicles, and then we get to hear the X-Files again.
Flexibility is such a strength.
All right, so I'm bringing two quick articles tonight. One is a Critter Chronicles, and one is Patrick prematurely displayed as a conspiracy theory.
Boola boola, okay?
I mean, if you can see through a ladder, you can understand this.
Oh man.
All right, so guys, it is Easter coming up this weekend.
Yes, it is.
And you know, there's a creature that delivers Easter eggs to all the children, right?
Yes.
The Easter bunny.
Pretty sure those are plastic eggs this year, likely.
Yeah, probably. I'm afraid that there's been a little kink to the Easter bunny plans this year.
I hope it's tariffs.
No. Guys, I don't know if you've heard about this, but there was a United Airlines flight this week that had to make an emergency landing after a fire apparently caused by a rabbit getting sucked into one of its engines before takeoff over the weekend.
Oh.
So it took off, engine number 2 flaming out, had to go around, come back and land. So that Easter bunny did not make
coming
it
this year.
Flying rabbit?
No, it was on takeoff. I guess it was hopping across the tarmac. And
Still, those engines are
quite a hop.
Yeah, that's high off the ground.
Can you imagine that poor rabbit's thought as it was lifted off the ground? It was like aliens have me, and then out
Gonna
the
go
back.
for my all-time hop.
Yeah.
Here I go. Boing.
I'm pretty sure the last thing that went through the rabbit's mind was an engine turbine. The blade on the turbine just gone.
Yep.
So I wanted to tell kids this year, maybe you shouldn't be anticipating much.
It's awful, Jason.
Because the rabbit,
we have some young listeners.
the rabbit took down the United Airlines flight.
Peter Cottontail.
Luckily, they landed. He was hopping down the tarmac, and it didn't go well.
Nope.
All right, now
You had a great segue in there. You just went right over it.
I missed
The rabbit got, thinking aliens.
aliens. Oh, gentlemen,
Please don the tinfoil hat before you start this.
I bring to you tonight a conspiracy theory.
Wait, you can't yet, Jason. You got to do the hat.
I'm gonna get the hat. I gotta
required.
find the article.
Even though nobody else can see it, it's required.
I don't know if y'all have seen it this week. Let me get this on.
Here we go. You can hear it. There it goes.
All right, I now am donning the tinfoil hat for
It
this
looks
segment.
so good.
All right, guys. I don't know if you've heard about it this week, but there was a small rocket launch with, I think, 6 celebrities on it
Yes.
that flew for an entire 11 minutes duration up above the Kármán line into the edge of space, at which time it returned, landed safely on terra firma, and they got out and
Wasn't
had a
this
press
like one of
conference.
those trips where you say, hey, I can knock off one more state if I drive up here a half mile and we go into the next state up that I've never been in before, and then we turn around and come back? That's the way they handled outer space.
Well, basically,
Let's go 6 inches into outer space and then we'll come back.
Yeah.
home.
if they made it, if it even happened.
You didn't mention, Jason, that
Was this
these
made
were
on a
all
sound
women.
stage? Is this like the moon landing?
All women,
Whoa.
celebrity women.
I'm about to mute you, Tim.
Oh, we all know the moon landing was faked, Patrick. You're obviously living.
Jason
He
has
just
been
cut Jason's mic off.
been officially removed from this podcast.
During my segment. All right. So there's an article that I found in the New York Post It reads, astronaut. Conspiracy theories swirl about Katy Perry's faked Blue Origin space mission. So have you seen the videos, number one?
No.
I've seen a few.
Have you seen the landing video?
I've seen the one where the door kind of opens a little.
Let's not get ahead.
All right.
So first of all, where do capsules typically land when they come back to Earth?
The ocean.
The ocean. Yeah. Okay. Number one, where did this land?
Middle of the desert.
Middle of the desert. And by what I could tell in the space video, when they were at zero gravity for 47 seconds, I didn't see a lot of seatbelts on. So when that thing pounded back into the ground, and if you've seen the video of it, it's quite a poof. There is dust. It's a hard landing.
Quite a poof.
They should have been scrambled inside the capsule. So that's proof number one. I'm not sure that they actually landed.
Can I just ask, you go up there to experience zero gravity.
Yeah.
Is it not possible that they intentionally removed their seatbelts so they could float a little bit for the cameras,
Drew,
then
perhaps
made their way back to their chair, buckled in?
But have you
for the
seen
descent?
the guys getting out of the capsules or getting into the capsules when NASA launches them? Or SpaceX launches them, the real space traveling company. It takes people locking them in, tightening things up. I don't know that you just hop in. It's not like the car seatbelt, I wouldn't think. I've not done any research, so I really don't know.
Okay, so
But you've done enough research to question whether this actually happened.
in the NASA situation,
I'm good with that.
they're in full pressure suits. They can't buckle themselves in.
But they've got the cabin pressurized. Theoretically, they do.
Well, after the technicians are out.
Theoretically.
This one didn't need to be pressurized. They never left the ground.
Exactly.
Oh,
They definitely.
Patrick, are you're buying into
They
this? as well?
definitely. Okay, so
Well, let's
they
hear
may
more.
they may have made it to space, but the landing not real. The landing they showed, maybe the capsule hitting hard impact on terra firma might not have been faked.
But what about Terra Sanda?
I think.
Well, maybe it was terra sanda.
Okay, I am not defending defending against this conspiracy theory.
No.
But
You're just being a little woke. It's okay.
they do have. I mean, Soyuz lands in the middle of what's the Russian Arctic? What do they call that? Siberia.
Yeah.
And it uses rockets to slow down at the last second.
Well, I've seen the video. Did you see any rockets before this? Have you got to see the video
All right,
of it?
I'm gonna look it
Earth.
up right now. I'm gonna look it up.
3 or 4 big parachutes and poof, big dust cloud.
Mhm.
Anyway, the problem I have is they have all the media around, correct? And there's video from early on, and Jeff Bezos is walking around outside the capsule, and the capsule door from the inside barely opens, and then it closes back real quick. And then they're walking around, and then the media says, all right, it looks like Jeff Bezos is going to open the capsule door. And he walks over with this little thing that looks like a miniature tire iron. He does a little with the door. That's the sound it made. I've listened to it. And the door just easily opens.
Yeah.
So there was either they had already unlocked it to check on them, and then they had the media, him unlocking it. I'm saying they never left.
I have no idea. I have no doubt that the first thing you said happened. You know, they'd come, maybe they'd gotten out and stretched their legs and hugged their loved ones and then went back in for a picture.
Where was the charring on the capsule? Now, I know it did not go far into the outer reaches into orbital.
I'm talking about an 11-minute trip.
It went through some of the atmosphere, according to my research, which I did
real talk, though, it went through it like 200 miles an hour. The capsules that you're talking about are 17 and some change thousand miles per hour.
I did research. I Googled, and this is how I do research.
Yeah.
Should you have a heat impact on a capsule coming that has traveled above the Kármán line and back down? And from what I saw, there is at least enough heat there to generate 4,000 degrees of temperature.
But at 200 miles an hour. I don't know. I did just.
I'm telling you, if you put that capsule on your
landing.
grill at 600 degrees, it's getting char marks.
I did just watch the landing. It was moving at about 16 miles per hour when it hit the ground.
Looked like a hard landing, though.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. You saw the poof?
Yes.
Was I wrong with the poof?
No, you were not wrong.
But I'm not convinced that they actually went up and came back. And I'm totally convinced that if they did go up and come back, they staged they're getting out of the capsule. 100% staged that for the cameras and got caught staging it.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
So when they got out, do I have it right that Katy Perry kissed the earth?
ground.
Right.
Yeah, because she'd been gone for 11 minutes.
I saw like a meme today that was like somebody really rolling their eyes in a big way. And it was like the astronauts who spent 8 months on the space station when they saw her kiss the ground when she had been away for 11 minutes.
She did. She was quoted as saying that she was able to get in contact with the divine feminine. I believe I saw that. I don't know what that means. I did see Jeff Bezos take a nosedive walking around the capsule, and that was pretty awesome. I mean,
heard about
he
that.
hit hard.
Yeah, that's great.
So
But-
before we leave this story,
You need to read it.
Could
Watch
you,
the video.
Maybe there's some passengers out there like me who have no idea what the Kármán line is.
So it's basically 60 miles above the surface of the earth, or I think it was 58 nautical miles above sea level.
Okay.
It is
Is
the
that the
line
division?
that divides the Earth's atmosphere versus outer space.
Gotcha.
So
I
you've
thought
got
he
to
was
go.
talking about chapstick.
They said it was somewhere, but that's Carmex. They say that it's 3 to 8 minutes, depending on the speed of the rocket, to get to that point.
I'm now watching them leave the capsule,
I'm telling
and
you,
it looks like Jeff Bezos' fiance, who was on this thing, has used a little too much Carmex.
Well,
yeah. She's like, "Where's the children?"
when your lips have no feeling in them, it's hard to know when to stop the application.
There's a little filler.
You know when
been
you
used.
rebuild a car and there's no original parts.
Yeah. There's a
There's
little
your
bondo. There's a
conspiracy
little
theory.
bondo there, I do believe.
All right.
So I'm done. I'm going to take this off because my forehead is starting to sweat.
You're as hot as that capsule was coming down out of the atmosphere.
I don't think it was hot because it never left.
So if Patrick and I say to you a tradition unlike any other, what would we be talking about?
Fall festival.
Exactly. So this is about the Great Pumpkin Man. No, it's not, but we'll talk about that on another day. We've got some music
Guys,
to
I've
share
got a
with
new
you.
Yay Sports intro. Y'all ready
Oh,
for
yeah.
it?
really?
Lay it on us.
You ready for it?
Yeah.
The team, go sports!
All right. Can you just explain what's going on here?
Hi, thank you. I have no idea.
That is perfect for EA Sports.
Well
Yay,
done,
sports.
Patrick Birch. Well done.
All right. So we've got some underlying music here for our joint item.
Oh, NBC is on the Masters
A tradition unlike any other. The Masters on
from Augusta,
CBS.
Georgia.
Yep. So we want to talk both a little bit about the Masters, which was last week, and so we're going to hit it from two different perspectives. Patrick, take it away.
When you win the Masters, you get some stuff. What's the thing you think of when somebody wins
Green
the Masters?
jacket.
They get a green jacket.
Yeah.
What else?
There's got to be a trophy of some sort.
And the trophy looks like a house.
Masters Clubhouse.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right.
And what else?
Praise.
Praise,
You receive
yeah.
praise.
Money.
Yep.
A car.
No car.
Huh.
Though
If you hit a putt
though
in
you
Auburn,
could,
you do.
Tote bag.
yeah. Though you could probably buy several of them with the amount of money that you win. So I have a list of things that the winner of the Masters gets.
All right.
So the first one and the most obvious one is the green jacket.
Yeah.
The green jacket is allowed to leave Augusta for 1 year while they, I guess, do tours and press and all that kind of stuff. And then it has to go back because the green
What?
jackets don't leave Augusta grounds.
So
I didn't know this.
So with the
I thought
green
it was
jacket-
your jacket.
Here's my question.
It is
How did
like
they
it
is
know?
your-
So you've just won. You're walking off the final hole. How do they get your size right?
So Oddly enough, I did actually think this as well. Not oddly, of course I did. They
It hurts my feelings that you thought it was odd that I thought.
Basically, they pick a member who has one that is close to your size, and then you get fitted for one.
Okay.
So you also win prize money. This year, Roy, was that his name?
Rory McIlroy.
Won $4.2 million.
Not to be confused with Roy McAvoy from Tin Cup.
Wasn't Rory McIlroy the quarterback at Alabama for a while?
That's Greg.
Greg, sorry.
Yeah.
That's his brother. Twice removed.
From another mother.
They also get 5 years where they get an exemption from the PGA Tour, the Open, the US Open, and the US PGA Championship.
So they get invited to all those big events, basically.
Without having to qualify?
They get tour rights.
Right.
They're automatically 5 years.
Yeah. They get a replica of the trophy. The actual trophy, their name gets added to, but stays at the clubhouse. So they get a little
Now, speaking of replicas, I did read that they can have a replica of the green jacket made that is the official one, their official green jacket that after their year stays at Augusta National, they can have a replica made that they can have
go around on.
Probably that they can frame and put in their home or something.
Interesting.
So can you, Tim. Just go to Just for Men. You can get a replica green jacket
for men. They get a Masters Gold medallion. It's a 3.4 inch in diameter, 2.3 ounce medallion featuring the Founder's Circle at the front of the courthouse.
Okay.
I don't know what you do with that. They get an open-ended Masters invite, so they can come back and be in the Masters anytime as long as they're
alive.
As long as they're alive. They get an honorary club membership. It's honorary though, it's not the fully paid kind. I don't know what the difference is. And they get to choose the Champions Dinner menu for the next year.
I hope they're more decisive about choosing what to eat than I am. They're like,
what if it had written on there, I don't know, what do you want?
Yeah.
They also get a locker in the Champions locker room.
Now that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's where their jacket has to stay.
I think they need a Heisman House for the Masters winners. They're missing an opportunity there where they all get together and make commercials like in the Heisman House.
Yeah, but these guys are a little, you might call them traditional. You almost might call them stuffy.
Kind of uppity.
A little bit.
Not that funny.
I don't want to.
Not very good sense of
Pretentious,
humor.
Tim? Yeah. Pretentious?
So that gets a little bit into, Patrick, are we good to segue?
all good.
Okay. So you might ask for things that Patrick mentioned, like how much they pay their champion. How do they make ends meet, right? And so part of the way is the merchandise they sell. Now you may have seen that the concessions they sell are ridiculously cheap. They have kept the prices down. So, when you start talking about this stuff, how it appears on all of your social media. So all last week I was seeing pictures of things, and one is like the board of all the prices. And I won't get these exactly right, but it's like pimento cheese sandwich, $2.
And it's supposed to be a really good pimento cheese sandwich.
Right. So, everything on the list is like $2 for a soft drink, $1.50 for a ham and cheese sandwich. And they have kept those purposely low. Well,
do they keep corn dogs there, Tim?
I don't believe so. I don't believe that's on the list. But they make a killing on merchandise. The merchandise at Augusta, right? You've probably seen, everybody's seen the U.S. outline with the golf flag coming out of it. That stuff's sold only on site. You cannot, and you can get in some big trouble for trying to resell it off site. And so this is just a little tidbit about how much they sell in a week. this was a picture on social media of a line at the Masters. They'll do about $70 million in merch sales, or they did this past week. That's $10 million a day, $1 million an hour, $16,000 a minute, $277 every second in merchandise for that whole week.
I told y'all we should put the Passages logo on a T-shirt and start selling it.
You know, we should look into that.
At the Masters?
No, the lectureships.
What if we got to broadcast from the Masters? That'd be awesome.
So Tim, the
We'd have to talk in
complex,
low
the
tones.
non-public shopping and dining complex is only open 1 week a year during the Masters. So they built this, it says 90,000 square foot complex in 2012, only open 1 week a year.
Yeah. Millie, and so
Wow.
Millie and I were talking back and forth about this, and so a lot of stuff popped up on her social media feed about so at the clubhouse, which is limited, I think, to only like members and the golfers, they have special merchandise there. And she was just telling me like these ridiculous amounts of money, and basically like the golfers were buying up everything they could touch. And that's what happens. So, you know, you think about most people who go to the Masters have a little bit of money because the badges, I mean, you can't get them, but if you can get them, they cost a lot of money, right? So, but if you get in, you can buy, let me buy Christmas for everyone, right? Here's a Master shirt. You know where you can get that? Nowhere, right? I mean, that's a great gift for anybody that's a golfer, has a golf interest or anything like that.
Now, I want to interrupt you.
Yeah.
You said something interesting. You said most of the people that are going to the Masters tend to have a little bit of money. Just taking a poll in here. Drew, have you ever been to the Masters?
No, I have not.
Patrick?
Nope.
I've never been. Tim, have you ever been to the Masters?
Yes.
So
Can I say this too?
Passengers.
We're talking about all this valuable
Meat money
merchandise.
Yeah.
Not my favorite color, green.
Really?
No.
kind of a Kelly green.
Yeah.
Kind of
It's
a,
a little loud,
It is a
a little obnoxious.
Hang on, let me find it real
I'm just
quick.
going to say it.
It is-
Patrick's
it is-
green
It is
is-
a trademarked green shade. It is
Whatever.
Pantone 342.
Well, there you have it. So let,
Pantone
so,
342.
so let me tell you a little
That's for
bit.
people with a little bit of money, Drew.
wonder what the first 341 Pantones looked like.
I don't know.
One of the things I wanted to share with you guys is there is some special terminology at the Masters. So there are some things that, in particular, people who are broadcasting the Masters can and cannot say. For instance,
Censorship.
For instance, well, it's not censorship, but if you want to broadcast
Is this going to be like a George Carlin routine?
well, I don't know. We'll see. But if you choose to broadcast the
You have to
Masters,
follow
you're
their
going to follow
rules.
these rules, right? If you remember, there was a year when, remember there was a year about either ethnicities being members or a woman being member at Augusta, and they were sort of held hostage. And so all the big sponsors started pulling out. Well, the folks at Augusta National just said, it's fine. We'll play, we'll broadcast the Masters without commercials. And they did it for a year on CBS. It was just golf
Wow.
because these guys have some money.
Yep.
And nobody's holding them up. So it was like, and then back came Coca-Cola and AT&T and IBM and the
Yeah.
big boys.
The
They
Masters
have
does
some
not need
viewers.
them. They need the
Masters.
Masters.
That's right. All right. So here's the terminology stuff. So for one thing, the people who are at Augusta that have the badges that walk in are not fans. Fan is short for fanatic, and fanatic is not the way we behave at the Masters.
Oh.
They're patrons. They are not fans.
Because they patronize.
Let's not get into this. Okay. So, what happens when Jason, the last time you played golf, that stuff in the middle that you don't ever hit into, that's called what?
The fairway. Yeah.
And then where your ball goes, what's that called?
The trees.
The rough.
Rough.
The rough.
Yeah.
Rough. That's such a crude word.
Oh, no.
We call it the first cut and the second cut. So if you get into the short higher grass, it's not rough. I mean,
It's not short.
we don't
rough,
just
tall.
let things.
second
We
cut.
don't let things go rough out here. It's the first cut and the second cut. Also at Augusta National, they don't have bunker. I mean, they have bunkers, not sand traps.
Well, sand trap
traps.
has such a negative
My
connotation.
goodness, you commoners. All right, so
It's not actually sand in the sand traps either.
Really?
Interesting.
It's granulated quartz.
There you have it.
They have a little bit of money.
Wow.
Wow.
On a golf course, it's broken into nines. What do you call the two nines?
I call it the front and the back nine.
Right. The back nine is also known as the backside. That's crude.
I would agree.
We refer to it as
The bottom.
we refer to it as the first nine and the second nine. Thank you very much.
The posterior. The derriere 9.
In fact, we also don't even like the word driving range, so we call it the tournament practice area. And
So basically, it's just add words.
They make it harder.
but you say it the way we tell you to say it.
Do they all speak like Thurston Howell III? I pictured them all talking like Thurston Howell
I
III.
think so.
Yeah.
With a just a small bit of Foghorn Leghorn built
Absolutely.
into it.
100%. It is Georgia.
And finally, it is the press building, not the media center. Go figure. All right.
I wouldn't use either of those terms.
Exactly. So the last thing I'm going to do, and then we'll throw it over to Drew, is that each one of the originally this was I want to say it was a orchard, or it was
It,
where
it was like a nursery.
a
or
nursery,
something like that.
yeah. And so in honor of that, every hole is named after a particular plant, tree. For instance, tea olive, pink dogwood, flowering peach, flowering crabapple, magnolia. So they all each have names of a plant or a tree that is, I think, there on the ground.
Which hole is privet hedge?
Privet hedge? I don't believe that's on here.
They don't allow privet hedge
No, I don't
at the
believe so.
Masters.
So, yep, that's it. A tradition unlike any other.
I'll have to agree with that. And that is the longest song I've ever heard.
I kind of felt like I was at a mega church there for a minute while Tim was talking in low tones and the music was playing behind him.
I was trying to do a little Jim Nance. That's a 3-foot putt. Looks like it's going to break right on the left outside edge. There's the putt. And he misses it.
Boola boola, okay?
There you go. Drew, over to you.
All right. So I've been working on a list here.
We love lists, don't
And
passages.
it got a little long, but I'm excited to share it with you to see what you think about it. These are uncomfortable truths I wish I'd known earlier. Now, I put them together hurriedly. I do have a day job, so I had to focus on other
Well,
things.
on Wednesday
They're-
and Sunday.
Okay.
Those are days.
They are.
They're not in the best order, as you will see when I start with number 1 on my list, but just random order. Here are how many I got? 19 uncomfortable truths I wish I'd known earlier.
From Drew Kaiser.
With I mean, if y'all want to break in, I know 19. If we spend a minute on each one, that's what is that? 45
Hey,
minutes.
I'm looking
Probably.
at the clock. We're ahead of schedule tonight.
We loaded up
Are
some
we?
extra
Okay,
tape
okay.
too. Yeah,
Yeah, all right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, y'all break in if you want to. If you don't, that's fine. I think you'll have some things to say about some of these. Number 1, you're going to die. That probably should be further down the list, but
Uncomfortable truth.
it's an uncomfortable truth. And I thought about Steve Jobs and what he said after his cancer diagnosis. I think he had terminal cancer. He's told he had a few weeks, months to live. And then he went into remission and he had a very productive phase of his life before his cancer returned. But he gave this commencement speech, and one of the things he said was, the best way to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose is knowing that you're going to die. And he said he became so much more productive and he quit wasting his life when he got that cancer diagnosis. It changed his life for the better. It's not a great feeling to think about it, but it's a harsh truth about reality.
My favorite fact about Steve Jobs, he never registered his car. He just bought a new one every 6 months.
Wow.
Because in California, whenever he was alive, you had 6 months to register your car. And so instead of
he didn't want to go through the hassle.
Instead of registering it, he just bought a new one every 6 months.
He must have had to go to Jefferson County one time to the tag office.
Yeah. All right, number 2. There's no such thing as a soulmate. In other words, there's not this one perfect spouse for you, mate for you out there that God has stamped just for you. There are, of course, things that make people better mates for you than others. Jason, you shared a great video with us this week where the guy was talking about number 1 is a shared set of values.
Yep.
A shared faith, I think, is the way we would put it. If you find somebody who shares your faith, that matters so much more than looks or approximation or where you've been thrown in together in life. So, what that does for you in a marriage is when things start getting hard and you feel like you're not clicking, you don't run away and get a divorce and just say, well, I must have been with the wrong person all this time. You work together and you stick it out. May not be romantic, but it's the truth. Number 3, God doesn't have a plan for you. Now, I know that sounds wrong, but listen to what I mean by a plan. I mean like a blueprint, the way your life is supposed to be exactly mapped out. People will go to Jeremiah 29:11. I know I have the plans for you, plans for a future and a hope, and they'll pull that out of its context. It's about the Babylonian captives and how his plans are to restore them back to their homeland. It's not about, me getting that job that I want or moving to that place I want to move to. That's not the way it works. God does have a will for you to lead a holy life and to follow Jesus. But there's all kinds of freedom that we have within that. Number 4, most people don't care about your problems. So quit trying to get them to, and just face your problems and do what you can to work through them. And quit worrying about whether people care about your problems. They don't. They got their own problems to take care of.
I want to jump in here and say, also stop posting them to social media.
Yeah.
Please.
Yes. Because we don't care.
Except in the what's happening in insert cities, because that's very entertaining.
Well, yeah.
Now that
please
is
continue what's happening in Leeds, what's happening in Moody, etc.
Yeah.
Number 5, you can't control other people. And, add to that, you have very little control over anything, really. You can control the way you behave. You can't control other people, so stop trying. Number 6, talent isn't enough. If you're really good at something, that's great, but you're going to have to work hard. You'll get to, maybe if you grow up in a small town or you're a big fish in a small pond, talent is enough to get you through your school years or whatever, but you're going to get to a level at some point where you're going to have more than talent. And there have been a lot of people who have wasted their talent because they were plain lazy and they just, things are easy for them early on and they didn't develop themselves.
When you talk about that, I think of the book Malcolm Gladwell wrote, Outliers, and he goes into a lot of that where he talks about, like, Steve Jobs was one he talks about, I think, Michael Jordan, but it talks about these people had unbelievable talent, but he also talks about how many hours. They spent honing their craft, learning to use their talents, because talent's raw. So you have to learn how to use it, which involves work. That is a great book if you ever want to read about that.
I may reword this into talent isn't as important as hard work.
Yeah. And you know, if you ever get the combination of talent and very hard work, sports example, just in the last couple of weeks, Julio Jones retired from the NFL. And I saw this quote about him, and it was from one of his teammates in Alabama. And he said, Julio said, you know, if you ever looked for somebody that like showed up, and it's like, if I could draw a picture of a football player, you know, it was this guy, right? So all the talent and all the raw ability and everything was there. And he said he came to practice every day and played like a walk-on. It was like he was fighting for his life every day. So he wanted to make himself better. And it's that combination, right? If you ever tap into, and that's like a Michael Jordan, right? Michael Jordan was blessed with talent. Now you could argue there's those stories about him not making his 10th grade basketball team and things like that. You know, that he got every ounce of talent. You know, he maximized every ounce of talent that he had. But if you ever get that combination of someone who has talent plus the work ethic, that's where you have those who are
unstoppable.
Right, unstoppable force. Yeah.
Number 7, you're not saying no enough. I'm looking at me right here.
Oh, wonderful. That's your best one so far.
Eliminate the non-essentials, learn to say no, and don't feel guilty about it. You can't do everything, and you're probably doing things that are getting in the way of the more important things in your life.
I just finished a book a week ago, The Art of Saying No, spectacular book. And I have been trying to integrate it in some ways into my daily life. And I've not yet done it enough to see a huge difference, but it's very freeing knowing that it's okay to say no and that you really owe no one a reason. You know, if someone says, hey, I need, like for me, I drive a truck. People who want to move, they come, they're like, hey, you got a truck. Can you help me move this afternoon? And it is okay for me to say, no, I can't. And I can leave it at that. I don't have to make excuses because I'm owning my decision. I'm owning my time. And there's times I can help and I can say yes then. But that was one of the better books I have read on learning to say no and talking about the benefits of not allowing yourself to be used by others, that have your time sapped by others, only to find yourself unhappy because you don't have time to do the things you need to do. It was a great book.
Number 8, the simple pleasures are better than grand designs. So there's a quote I'm going to paraphrase by Dostoevsky. The whole world's falling apart, but I should still have my tea. I think that every day you should have something built into your day for you to look forward to, a little thing that you like to do. One of the things for me, I like to go to Starbucks. I try to work it in every day. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but, you know, it's no big deal. I enjoy the drive over and listening to podcasts I like and getting out of the office, getting off by myself a little bit, and then getting right back to work. I think everybody should build something like that into their day, whatever it is. Number 9, I struggle. I hadn't landed on how I'm going to put this yet, but one way I put it is all trophies are tarnished. Another way I put it is no win is complete. The idea is the enjoyment is in the journey, not the destination. I've heard so many stories about people who have made it in life and they get to the top and it's not what they thought it would be. And all of us have lived long enough to have accomplished smaller goals that we thought were going to feel a certain way, and it's not as illustrious as we thought. I heard interview with the artist Moby a long time ago. Nobody knows who Moby is anymore, but He was a Grammy winner. He won his first Grammy, and then he went back to his room, and it was all he could do to keep from jumping out the window, because he became purely suicidal when he got to that thing that he'd been working toward for so long, and it didn't feel
What's
as
left?
glorious as he thought. And then he's like, what am I going to do now?
Yeah, what's left?
Yeah. And the thing is, we were made for heaven. We were made for God's glory. And we're not going to get there until the end. And so what life is really all about is the journey and the people we're on that journey with. That's what life is all about. So all trophies are tarnished. No win is complete. Number 10, everyone is an imposter. So do things scared until they feel normal. We all have a little imposter syndrome. When you get your first job, I know when I was a youth minister and I first started in ministry, I thought, I'm not supposed to be doing this. Parents would bring their kids to me and ask me to help them rear their children. And I was 19 years old. I did not know what I was doing. And as I grow older, I realize that everybody feels a little bit like a fraud at times, and sometimes all the time.
I saw something, and I can't remember the actual quote, but it was along the lines of courage is experience.
Mm-hmm.
So without the experience, you're just afraid. And as you gain that experience, you build courage.
Yeah. And the only way to get the experience is to do things scared.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you feel that way and you're just starting out on something, everybody around you is a fake. So
And if you're not feeling a little bit
Just do it.
scared about doing something, question if you're pursuing the right thing.
you might be too comfortable.
Yeah.
Or you're too
You're
cavalier about it.
Or you're not pushing yourself.
Yeah. Number 11, your phone is making you dumber.
Preach.
Or your phone is stealing your life. These devices are addictive. Look at your screen time, realize where your time is going, and just get off your phone and do something productive.
I saw something this week, and I have not, you haven't shared these until now, but I saw something this week. You hear a lot about the whole dopamine addiction deal that comes along with the doom scrolling. There was some study or observation or something where they're now saying that kids who get a hold of devices too early are learning to, they'll watch the little 7-second video and then go to the other one, and they're learning to forget the context of the previous video because the new video has nothing to do with that. And it's hurting things like reading comprehension, because reading is all about remembering prior context as you go further into whatever you're reading. And all, TikTok is teaching you is I don't need any more of that context that I just saw because I'm onto something new.
Makes sense.
The phone's still our happiness.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because there's not time for imagination. There's not time for interaction.
Boredom.
Yeah. Boredom is a good thing. I mean, there were a lot of things in my childhood that I enjoyed doing because I had nothing else to do but to go outside and invent a game. There was a game my brother and I would play when we were bored, where we would go in a bathroom, take the shower curtain down, take a handful of super bouncy balls, turn off the lights, throw them as hard as we can, and see who got hit in the worst places. I mean, that was a time without phones.
You guys were bored.
Well, we lived in the middle of nowhere. But I mean, there's kids today, I see them all the time that come in with their parents into the office, and the kids from when I walk in the room to see them, I have to say, all right, let me have the phone. Let me give that to mom, or let me give that to dad.
So they won't even take it from them when they're putting them in the chair to get an examination.
No, they're sitting there playing on it till I come in. And then as soon as they're done, I'm like, all right, let me make some notes and we'll walk up front. The kid is down taking it back from the parent and then walking out looking at the phone. They have no time to use their imagination.
I would say these are pretty simple principles to understand, wouldn't you?
Boola boola, okay?
Or, for somebody who...
If you can see through a ladder, you can figure this out.
There it is. That's what I was looking for.
I wanted to play this one when Jason was talking about his bouncy balls.
How in the round world are you going to accomplish that goal?
That's our friend David Light.
A lot
he
of
was with
whips
us a
on
couple
you.
weeks
Yeah.
ago. We were able to capture some sound clips for the podcast, so we'll treasure those forever.
Podcast gold.
Number 12. You're not tired, you're misaligned. Don't blame burnout. Get focused. I think I've observed this in me that if I'm having trouble getting going in the morning, if I'm having trouble finding motivation, it's because I haven't aligned myself with my values, my priorities, and the things that I need to be about. I hear, there are conferences in my line of work and probably in y'all's too, a minister's burnout, and you need to take care of yourself. And you do need to take care of yourself. And you need to get rest and have some recreation, spend time with your family, all that. But a lot of times burnout's just an excuse, and it's a side effect of not paying attention to what you're doing and not spending a little time focusing on what's important. That's what I mean by that. Number 13, quit trying to get people to like you. People are drawn to conviction, not pandering. They can tell when you're just trying to get them to like you.
That one hits home.
Yeah, that's one I got to work on. Jason, I've confessed our people-pleasing tendencies many times on this podcast ad nauseum.
And there's a big part of that that goes back to the one you talked about with learning to say no about things.
This really should go right there.
Those two go together. In fact, that book I read, one of the things it said was that by learning to say no to people, people will start to respect you and your boundaries more because they know that you have something you will stand for, or that you will stand for yourself, and that you will prioritize things instead of just being their yes man.
I've never been able to get somebody to do something for me by kissing up to them.
No.
But people pleasers try that all the time.
Yep.
But if you show conviction, people respect that.
Mm-hmm.
Number 14, faith without works is dead. Not original with me.
Oh.
A man named James said that somewhere.
I heard that somewhere before.
Yeah.
Faith without works is dead. If you don't go to church, if you don't give, if you don't help others, you really don't believe. There's so much empty self-profession about Christianity and faith. It sometimes just makes me sick to hear people virtue signal about how holy they are, and to see the numbers on who's really practicing Christianity. It's really disheartening.
It goes back to that biblical concept of of sharing your fruits. You're defined by the fruits you produce, and if you're not actively engaged, not necessarily doing works of goodness, kindness, godliness to earn your way to heaven. I'm not saying that in any way, but if you're not showing kind of some of those works of the Spirit, then I question.
Mm-hmm.
Is your faith really as strong as you profess it to be?
Yeah.
You may have one before you're all said and done here about balance, but your list already, this one, this one has to be compared to the item about saying no.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because saying no, will likely at times involve, and probably often involve, turning down the opportunity for good works.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So something that you could do to help someone out, something that you could do, just, of profit and of value. But then all right, well, I'm not producing these works that I need to. And we know this is a struggle for everyone. It's a serious struggle for some people to draw this line of balance. When is it enough? Right. Because
who do you say no to?
Right. Who do you say no to? What works do you say no to? when have I turned down too many things? You know,
What is the reason you're saying that?
when have I begun to become selfish? This is a balancing act. Life is a balancing act, right? Because we know that works are important, but we know that we're not saved by our own works, and that's a very difficult balance to strike. And understanding where, you know, God's grace plays into all of this, but if we're trying to measure all of this out, it really can't be done.
But I think even
we've just got to strike a good balance in our life where we aren't overdoing any of these things, right? I can say no. I don't need to overdo saying no. I need to do works. I don't need to overdo doing works. I've got to strike some balance here that accomplish, you know, both of these things, but it ain't easy.
And I think Christ showed us that example. I mean, Christ took time to go away by himself and meditate and have quiet time. There were times that the people would say, "Hey, do a miracle for us." And Christ would be like, "No, I'm not going to do it. Yeah. I'm not going to do it because you want me to. I'm only going to do it if it benefits the kingdom." Yeah. And it comes down to the motive of, or why are we doing this? Are we doing it to win friendships? Or are we doing it to win souls? Are we doing it as a profession of our faith? Or are we doing it because we really want everybody to like us?
But often he went away because he was exhausted, right? And you know what does I don't claim to understand those verses that say that, other than he did a bunch of things, you know, that all the books of the world or whatever couldn't document what he had done during that time. He had to go away because he needed that time. But this was a struggle for him, right? I mean, he had to step up. I mean, he did it perfectly because he did everything perfectly. But that balance between saying no, resting, working, all of that.
You got all this stuff coming at you. Right. You're not doing this in a vacuum.
That's right.
You've got people around you messing with your plan.
Well, and if there had been social media back in his day, I could have just seen Jesus was so selfish today because he went off and by himself to meditate instead of continuing to do healing. Yeah. I think he's a good example of it.
Number 15, self-pity is narcissism. If they are your friends, they can have a good time without you. If they aren't, you don't need them anyway. Don't give in to FOMO, jealousy, envy, all of that we often feel and interpret as, you know, we're a victim, is really us putting ourselves in the center of the universe. That's what it is.
I heard an interesting quote this week. There's no I in team, but there are 3 in narcissistic.
That's a good one.
And I like that.
Number 16, look at your expenditures. That's what you worship, and what you worship, you become.
Well, now you're just stepping on toes, preacher.
And by expenditures, I don't just mean money, but time as well. And energy, thought. Psalm 115:8, those who, speaking of idols, those who trust in them become like them. So if you don't like if you don't want to become what you're investing in, then you need to rearrange your priorities. Number 17, talk less, listen often, do more. Self-explanatory, right? 18, life is not worth living without the pain. There's a quote I encountered just recently. I used it in a sermon the other day. There's a Leonard Cohen, there's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in.
Wrote that one in my Bible when you sit next to the verse when you
our speaker tonight did an excellent job talking about suffering. And he said, you're not going to have life without suffering.
Hey, and one thing he said tonight that I thought was really, really good is, let's see, how did he put it? Suffering is not always going to make you better. It's not going to always make you worse.
But it won't leave you in the
But
same
it will
place.
not leave you where you are.
Yeah, that was
I
beautiful.
thought that was a great quote.
Suffering will either make you better or worse, but it's not going to leave you where you are.
Yeah.
And you have the choice. But life is not worth living without the pain.
No.
Life with no pain is not life.
Well, life with
just
no
imagine
pain doesn't allow you to experience pleasure.
Yeah,
Because
you wouldn't know what it
You
was.
can't define
Wouldn't-
pleasure without having something negative to compare it to.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to remember more Dostoevsky, but that could be dangerous because I probably wouldn't remember it correctly. He said something about, the stars shine brighter in the sky. Blah. See, I shouldn't have done it. Number 19.
The stars at night are big and bright, deep in the
So, yeah, I was about to sing Deep in the Heart of Texas. Number 19. Truth is complicated. You'll never have everything figured out. Be humble. If you want to look smart in the future, don't weigh in on complicated matters in the present. A lot of smart people have been wrong because life is just complicated. That goes for science, philosophy, faith. Just temper your opinions with humility.
One of the best pieces of advice I got early on when I started practicing was I had a mentor tell me, learn to be comfortable saying, I don't know.
Right.
And that saves you from a lot of stupidity and ignorance in trying to make up an answer. And I learned that very early on. And in life, if somebody asks me a question and I don't know, I just say, you know what? I don't know, but let's do some research. You look at it, I'll look at it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett has a good quote. It says, you will continue to suffer if you have an emotional reaction to everything that is said to you. Breathe and allow things to pass.
That's good. That would be a good passage for passages.
We've had a lot of good passages here in this segment.
Yeah.
19 of them to be exact.
I like
So
your
there's
list.
19.
I think there's a lot I think him saying about balance, I think that's important to add.
That
You
would
got a
round
good-
it out at 20.
You've got a good list there.
Did some balanced.
Is this
thing
going to
there.
be 19, 20 chapters of your next book?
No.
Okay.
At most, it'll be a Facebook post.
Oh.
Or you could preach some of this.
Yeah. It's very practical.
But-
And it is stuff
I'm
I
50
wish I'd
years
known.
old.
Yeah.
I spent half my life in the 20th century, half my life in the 21st century, and I think it's time to start trying to figure this thing we call life out.
Good list.
How many more times are we going to go around the sun? I don't know. Not as many as I already have.
You could make it to 100.
Tim, life is about the journey.
That's right.
So we are journeying together here on Passages. All right.
That was
we got a bad preacher segment coming up
Like
after
his
this.
batteries were running down.
I think it's time for a break.
I think we should take a break so we could eat some of these nice, delectable delights that were
Thank you,
that were
Teresa, for that.
procured for us because they are good.
Yep.
If you hear us crunching, it could be Cadbury mini eggs, M&Ms, or perhaps the Reese's peanut butter cups.
That's right. All right, let's have some of those and do a bad preacher. Judy reaches the western shores by thumbing after cars. I got no choice, got to get out or work 2-bit bars. Left a guy named Yuri 'cause she didn't like his style. New life, new way, new headaches out where the sunshine smiles. Yuri worked a job at Walmart selling ceiling fans.
Welcome back. It's time for
Bad preachers.
Put your hand on that television set.
And you wouldn't go about establishing your own kingdom in the video room.
Some of us would.
Isn't that something called a moshokodomazata?
Goo goo gaga.
Could it be?
I'm going to go back and get some of the actual bad preachers we've talked about now that we've done so many and fix that intro. Put some new ones in there.
Yeah, at least get the.
We're ending with the church lady, though, still.
Yeah.
I'm getting the tongue speaking out because it's
awful
on my last nerve.
Yeah.
Video room stays in, though.
Video room should be front.
Can't get rid of that one. It's the most important one.
Well,
really.
and
it is.
It's very convicting to Patrick.
It is.
Who has set up a kingdom in the video room.
I'll neither confirm nor deny that. But you're welcome anytime, Jason.
So we got one that's pretty different this time.
So in the late 80s, Oprah was real big. If anybody remembers
no
Oprah.
fat shaming, please.
Okay, the Oprah show was popular. Excuse me.
Wow, man.
And she had a family of
Ozempic.
Is
He definitely needs sensitivity training after this. Ozempic.
Gosh. All right. Well,
I think that's what Riley, isn't it?
It is. I just made it up for Ozempic.
Oprah on her very popular talk show had. Hold on. I have a sound clip for this.
We got to go to work.
All right,
Yeah,
y'all.
okay,
We got to
okay.
get to work.
Sorry,
There we go.
Patrick.
Back to serious
We'll
stuff.
rein it
Had
in.
this family of is evangelical preachers the right term for this? Is loud screaming, the ones that scream at you, I guess.
Fundamentalist is
Okay.
the term I'm more comfortable with.
So fundamentalists, I'm sorry for using the wrong term twice now in this one segment. So what you're going to hear is at first some audience members are talking and then you'll hear the bad preacher part. So here we go.
Here it seems like these kids are just regurgitating Bible verses. I want to know if you really understand what it is that you are preaching.
I'd like to make up a reading comprehension test for these kids to see if they really.
You're not on mic, so
This student's an
I know,
A
could you
student
give
in
me-
the school.
Could you maybe give me a Bible verse?
Oh, that
and
doesn't mean
interpret it or something?
I guess we should also say this family is fathers and sons, and the sons are maybe 12-ish
10
years
to
old, 10 to 12 years
12-ish,
old,
And they have a hostile audience.
and they have a hostile audience.
And they should have never gone on Oprah Winfrey.
No, they thought this is our opportunity to reach the world
They
with the
did.
gospel.
yeah. Could you preach for us and let us and then tell us what it is you mean?
Biblically.
Both ways.
Could you, Duffy? Could you? In your own words.
Duffy is the kid they're talking to.
Yeah.
And that's the
Yeah,
very
whatever
healthy
you wanna
Oprah
do.
Winfrey talking.
Well, there's a verse. You want him to preach?
Yeah.
Dad tries to
Get
save
up and
him.
preach. Get up and preach.
Yeah, go
Duffy
ahead.
do it.
Stand up right where you are if you want to. Go ahead.
Jeffy, do you want to preach?
If you want to. If you don't want
the
to,
audience
don't.
shouldn't
Pause
be
it
able
for
to
a second.
intimidate you into this.
This kind of peer pressure on a kid at 10, 11, 12, this kid was messed up after this show.
Oh, definitely.
And now I think,
I feel bad for him.
I do think probably already a little bit messed up because his parents drug him on this show. Bless his heart.
Yep.
But this kind of pressure, I'm uncomfortable.
Yes.
Like I'm physically feeling anxious for this child.
So is Duffy, who has sweated about a gallon in this video.
yes. Like we have been doing in here
Yes.
until we got the air
But
going. Yeah.
Duffy's about to give you all he's got.
Yeah.
All he's got, Tim.
He's bringing it.
All right.
If you want to do it, it's up to you.
Whosoever therefore shall be ashamed of me and of my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of him also shall the Son of Man be ashamed.
Okay.
Pause it for a second.
Okay.
I heard a little clap in there.
Yep.
If you saw the video, the poor kid looks a little out of his mind while he's talking.
He does. His eyes kind of glaze over,
Yes.
and he's not seeing anything.
No. He is in, oh, bless his heart. He is.
If he was looking out at that audience, he would not have done what he did.
He was so uncomfortable in that moment, and the pressure got to him, and he went into this. And shame on his parents.
Now, wait a minute. Wait just a minute, please. People want to know what that means that you just said. In your own word, tell us, what does that mean?
It means just what it says.
No. That's right. Don't yell it to us. Tell us what that means.
Well,
I've never read the Bible, let's pretend, and I don't understand that
you don't
type
have to pretend, lady.
Language. Tell me how that applies in my own life.
Well, why I'm screaming is the Bible definition of preaching is Isaiah 58:1. It says, "Cry aloud, spare not, lift up your voice like a trumpet."
Stay away from the Bible, Duffy.
Tell us in your own words.
How do you stay away from the Bible if you're going to preach, though?
The Bible says you're to speak.
Oprah was
Thank
sort of
you.
coming to his defense there.
As the oracles of God. If you don't want to talk the way this Bible talks, you should keep your mouth shut.
Now, they are waving around these super shiny leather. The Bibles aren't leather. They're in like a zipper leather case or whatever, and they're very shiny.
Huh.
Okay, yes, ma'am. We still, but you understand what people are saying. They want you to interpret what you just said, Duffy.
The Bible says, does not interpretation belong to God? Genesis chapter 40. Read it.
I understand that, David. What we're saying is, though, Duffy, do you understand what you just said? Could you put into your own words what you just said?
Yeah, I know what it means, but I just can't.
Please let him speak. Yes.
Poor kid.
Means
It's like my worst nightmare as a child.
Well, I know what it means, but it's just hard to understand. But you got to realize that the prophets were out there saying, "Thus saith the Lord," and they didn't even know who it was. They didn't understand what they were saying.
Oh, man. I think what we just witnessed was the world trying to take down Christianity by picking on a little kid.
Mm-hmm. That was a kid.
That was people who hate the Bible, hate God, that didn't want to pick on somebody their own size.
And
that's what happened.
And that borders on some type of psychological abuse for that poor child.
I was going to say the bad preacher in this segment was not the kid.
No.
It was probably the dad.
Dad
Right.
should
And
never have put him in that situation.
Right. And that's the other component of this, right? Is, I mean, they were, I think this was about these kid preachers, right? Basically who, basically they had sort of scripted
it was a setup,
a memorized thing or whatever, and that the kid, had some level of comprehension of what he was doing, and then, but not a deep understanding, right? And so somebody asked the question, so what does that mean? And he's like,
nobody ever asked him that question.
Well, it's hard to understand, too.
Right.
And all his life, this kid has been told how great he is. I mean, all 11 or 12 years of that life, every time he did that routine, he got a pat on the back. He never had anybody. It probably blew his mind. There were people who thought differently than he did.
That were pushing back against him like that. I think you should speak as a trumpet shouting forth that, Drew, from up in the pulpit at some point. Probably not.
Nah.
Man.
Sorry. Best I could do is a
so
bugle horn.
Yeah.
Basically, trumpet, isn't it?
Oh, ish.
No. That's a little flugelhorn for you.
Okay. Trying to place that tune.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
Little Chuck Mangione.
Yeah. Well, at least it got the Masters theme out of my head.
There you go.
That did. Do you think that was a real highly rated Oprah Winfrey episode right there?
I don't. She was on every day, right? And this one survived to
yes. This would have been where you were picking
present day on YouTube.
You would have been picking between her and Phil Donahue at this point.
Oh man,
the crowd there should have been ashamed of themselves too. I don't think they were, but they should have been.
Who was the guy that was like, Duffy? Do you want to, Duffy?
That was
the guy from New York.
It looked like someone sitting to the left of his dad So maybe another dad, because it was dad, kid, dad, kid, dad, kid. There's like four families up on the stage.
Okay.
See, if I were on stage and that was my kid, we'd have broke into Maury Povich. I'd have been hitting somebody over, or Jerry Springer. I'd have hit somebody over the head with a chair. Because that kind of pressure
Oprah has some bodyguards, though.
Man, that kind of pressure. I go back to my childhood. So I did Lads to Leaders, I think, one time. And the pressure I felt and the nerves I felt with that, no way. No way I would have got up there on that kind of a show in that hostile of an environment.
I've had those moments. Thankfully, most of it's early on when I've gotten up there and gotten started and realized I'm not prepared for this. Have y'all?
I've had those.
Tim,
moments.
have you had that?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Teaching a class? Absolutely. I've had those
and you know, you've got 40 minutes to fill.
That's when I started going, now stay with me. Now we're going to we're going to actually read all 47 verses of this.
Well, you know, when a preacher is screaming and hollering, he has no material.
I really want to get into the context of this. So we're going to read all of this chapter. Psalm 119.
First, let's let the scripture talk to us, and then we'll have some comments to make.
That's right.
Y'all will have some comments.
Read it slow. Stop right there.
Mm-hmm. I was in, I won't name the preacher, but I was in a service one time where the preacher read Matthew 5-7, the Sermon on the Mount. And he prefaced it saying, we don't visit this text the way it was originally delivered. And I think it would be good for us this morning to just read it from beginning to end so we can hear it the way it was supposed to be heard. And that's why I'm doing that this morning.
If you can see through a ladder, you can figure this out.
Yeah. And what I figured out was he didn't have anything to preach that morning.
Sound like a little boola boola to me. And run out of time.
Unprepared
to deliver the word. So the moral is, don't put your kids in that position. Don't put them on Oprah, no matter what size she is.
Yeah. Well,
sorry, Patrick.
Yeah. That was a trap.
I'm sorry, Oprah.
You were y'all were. She's going to come after you. Now that her friend Gail Keane got back from that fake space trip they took.
It's either her or the Masters from the soft instrumental we were playing earlier.
Yeah.
One of them will take this podcast down.
I'd be more afraid of the Masters.
Yeah, after what I learned tonight, I'm afraid.
Well, take a break and be back with our passage for tonight.
Yeah.
Time goes by, becoming a weary of a quest. A lump of fear, anxiety came rising to her chest. Yeah, but winter's come and instead everything's dead. Everything's dead. Everything's dead. Everything's dead. Everything.
Welcome back, passengers. It is time for our passage tonight because we didn't get enough of them during Drew's segment earlier.
Sorry about that.
No, that was a compliment.
Oh,
thank
you.
Those came from the pen of J.A. Kaiser.
They did. Tonight's passage comes from Marcus. Stop looking at me, Jason. Marcus Aurelius.
Perfect. Perfect.
Marcus. Can we call him Marcus? Mr. Aurelius? Mark?
Mr. Mark. Let's go with Mr. Mark.
Was born in 121 and died in 180. That's the year. And was a Roman emperor for a while. Kind of a big deal. So here's...
Pretty big gig.
I don't know if you know this. I'm kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal. So here's the passage for tonight. What are you afraid of losing when nothing in the world actually belongs to you?
It's a good question.
It is a good question.
Yeah.
And an interesting quote from someone who was a ruler.
An emperor.
Right? He was also a Stoic philosopher.
I was going to ask you, Yeah, I thought I remembered that he was stoic, which this is a very stoic thing to say, right?
A big thing of stoicism is you're going to die. I mean, back to, what you were saying earlier of,
and Steve Jobs, his thing is that's the best way to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose.
Right.
So it definitely ties in with one of those uncomfortable truths. You don't own anything. Nothing belongs to you.
Yeah.
You can't take it with you. So
I heard a really good phrase from someone one time that you don't really own anything. Just stop paying your property taxes and you'll figure it out real quick.
Yeah.
Or, don't register your car and you can't drive it. You don't really own it then. So what do you really own?
Yeah.
I know that's very practical. This obviously has several other ways we can take it, but.
Well, and Solomon puts it in Ecclesiastes, when you die, who's going to get all the things that you toiled for your whole life? Mm-hmm. To whom will that go?
Right. We say no pockets in a shroud, right?
Yeah.
That you're not taking anything with you, so why be so attached to it while you're on this earth, to the extent that it owns you and it basically influences all the decisions you make. Sometimes when we are afraid of losing things and we grab onto them so tight, what are the kinds of things that can happen? One of them is, right, we lose our focus on what's really important. And so we're obsessed with possessions. And so just this idea of not being afraid, if you lose what you have here, right? I mean, I've thought about this a lot in terms of just, a lot of people we know go through life and they work very hard for, years and years and years, 40, 50 years of work to, assemble, a lot of things and things, where they can enjoy the rest of their life and possessions. And then things like, catastrophic health issues happen and, or they end up, having to live out their days in a facility to help them. And at the end of it all, it's all gone. Mm-hmm. Right. And you just, sometimes you see that just evaporate and it's like, but these people worked all their life for these things and it's so sad, but sometimes it does bring the reality of, it was, you weren't taking it with you anyway. Right. Yeah. And so it came and it went. And if you can have, a healthier outlook on what possessions are all about anyway, maybe it helps if you ever get to that position, because I think for all of us, it would be very difficult, right? If the things we have begin to be, hey, I worked hard for that. Mm-hmm. Hey, you don't know the blood, sweat, and tears I put into having these things and this money and this, retirement and this and that. And, those things being taken away would not be easy, but we need to keep those possessions in the right light that they're all just temporal at best.
Well, so often we define ourselves by either what we do with our talents, what our job is. We define ourselves by what we have, the things we've accumulated, our material goods. And because we define ourselves by those things, we can't ever envision us losing those things. We can't separate ourselves from, I live in this house, I have this car, I have these possessions. And we start being defined by the material instead of being defined by what God wants us to be defined as his child, his creation. And so we're terrified of losing things because we think we lose who we are. We lose our, what's the word I'm looking for? Our, oh my goodness, I can't think of it.
autonomy,
our autonomy,
agency,
our identity. Yeah, our identity. We lose what defines us as people, and that's because we put our definition of ourselves based on these things, on the value of our job, on the value of our possessions, instead of the value of being a child of God. He created us. We were created. Man was created from dust. It says we're going to return to dust. You're not taking anything out of here with you. So if you're being defined by the temporal, then you're missing the true definition of who you are as a child of God. Because we're made to be eternal. Our bodies, physical bodies, they're temporal. They're just like all the junk that we have around here. But our spirit, our soul is made to be eternal.
Yeah, I think it's good to think in terms of things you can take with you, because there are things that, the clothing, of course, that's what Job and Paul said, naked we came into the world, and naked we shall return. But that doesn't mean you don't pick anything up in this world and bring it with you. And the Greeks had this myth about going down into Hades and getting something needed in the underworld to finish the quest in the real world. Well, we come through this earth and we gather some things. We're supposed to gather some things that we do take with us. Mm-hmm. What am I talking about? I'm talking about treasures in heaven. Mm-hmm. Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth. Lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven. Matthew 6:19-21. The rich fool was condemned in Luke 12 for not being rich toward God. Mm-hmm. So there's some riches we can store up in the spiritual realm. And they're spiritual in nature, of course. It's not money. It's not possessions. It's not houses or cars. We know that. It's relationships. It's faith, hope, love, primarily love. The forgiveness of sin, the reconciliation with God through Christ. These things carry over. Memories, I believe, at least the best ones, the positive ones, carry over.
I think our identity carries
Our identity, yeah. The self-awareness, that part of us made in the image of God.
That's right.
It carries over.
Yeah. Not the identity we define ourselves by what we've done or what we have, but the true identity as a child of God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like this idea of identity, and I think it hooks to this quote because we're talking about the fact that sometimes we or others may define us by our possessions, but what if we can? And Jason, you said this already about our identity really ought to be about being a child of God, but if you drill that down even a little bit deeper, what if you're defined by being an encourager? And what if you're you're defined, others really define you by the fact of how much you care about people or how much you love people. Those are, and we can throw out those attributes and we can all think about people that fall into those categories. And often when we think about those people, we don't think a lot about, well, do they have a boat, or how many bedrooms are in their house?
What kind of car did they drive in here tonight?
Right. Yeah. We think about their value in terms of what they do for people and what they do emotionally and spiritually for people, because those are the things that are lasting. And I think those things, those identities are built day by day. And they won't go away.
I think there's a side of this quote too, though, that also talks about the importance of our stewardship of what God has blessed us with while we're here. Every good and perfect gift comes from God. While we're here on earth, we are given talent, we are given abilities, we are given, I think we're blessed with some of the materialistic things. You know, he tells us that we'll be fed and clothed and taken care of. And I think we forget about that sometimes. And there's a responsibility of being a good steward of that blessing, not wasting it. I think about the prodigal son who had the father's blessing given to him, right? He got his inheritance from the father. And it says he went out and squandered it on raucous living. You know, he's just throwing all these blessings away, and he's left without any possessions, totally defeated and alone. And God, just like that father blessed the son with his inheritance, God gives us the blessing. He allows us to do the things we do. He gives us the talent to achieve the things we achieve. He gives us opportunities. And we got to be really, really careful about not squandering those, because when we squander those, like the prodigal son, there's a good chance we end up in a pigsty, alone, hungry, lost, and willing to do anything to get back to the Father. And I think there's some importance in understanding that role of stewardship in our lives.
Yeah. I want to take a minute to just see where this quote came from and distinguish it from Christian theology. Aurelius was a Stoic. So if he believed in an afterlife, it was just kind of the idea of being absorbed into the absolute, an impersonal God. Something, I mean, it's similar to Hinduism in some respects. Just a simplified way of looking at it. That is so different. What he's saying is, you know, what have you got to lose? You don't own anything anyway. Be dispassionate about it so you don't suffer. That's what he's saying. When you start getting attached to things that you can't hold on to, you're going to suffer. So just detach from everything. People, things, materials. None of it belongs to you. It's all passing away. Accept that. And in that acceptance, you'll find peace until you die. And you don't really die. You just kind of dissipate into nothingness. Well, that's very different than the Christian theology, which says the world is passing away, but the Father is eternal. So we have a personal God that we can relate to, be reconciled with, and dwell with in heaven. And so that's hope. There's no hope in Stoicism. There's hope in Christ.
Can I try to do one other thing with this quote? And y'all can say, Tim, that's lame.
We probably won't.
And it is our tradition to beat a quote into the ground,
Yes.
pulverize
So here we go.
break it apart. So go.
We're going to need some what is it, dental records to be able to recognize this in a minute. So let me try to apply this. You know, we've said, all right, you know, get away from the possessions, focus on the things that are really important. So, but let's just apply this to earthly possessions and worldly, not worldly in terms of sinful, but like on this earth, accomplishments, success in business, you know, just, you know, being able to be successful in our vocations. Here's the point. I'm very risk averse.
Mm-hmm.
I play it safe. You know, I've said it on this podcast before. I've worked almost 38 years in the same place, and that works for me.
Yeah.
I've watched for the last 20, how many years have we known each other? 25 years. I've watched Jason run a business, you know, so Jason started off and he had, you know, so out of medical school, he sort of had a job like I had, right? I mean, he went to somebody else's office and he worked for someone else and he did
He didn't get to stay in the office that much. He was going to nursing homes.
Yeah,
I had a
right.
bunch
And
of
so
one right after the other.
Right. And so, I mean, and he worked for someone else and he made someone else money and I'm sure he did just fine at that. But then, I saw him do some things. I've always been marveled at his willingness to take a risk. And I remember, him moving in down here in, the old Alabama Power building down there. And we were putting in, old cabinets and stuff, and I just thought, man, what must it be? I'm just not made up of that kind
How
of stuff.
How does he sleep at
night?
night?
And I know he didn't sometimes, right? But he was willing to take that next step, right? And then he come into breakfast one morning and say, I'm going to buy a practice over in Bessemer. And I think, how does somebody do something like that? And
I remember walking into the building he's in now when it was a bakery, and Jason said, I'm going to put my eye practice here. Or you said something like that. You said this would make a good eye clinic.
Right. And so
now he's in it.
Yeah. And the point I'm making on this is Jason, and something I really have admired about him for a long time in the way that he's run his business life, is he wasn't afraid to lose. That's not me. And that probably tempers the level of financial gain that you get to at some point. And I hope that I'm imparting to Jonathan, take a few more risks, take more risk than your dad took. And because that's something that I've always really admired about Jason. And I think I've seen it pay off because, hey, not everything turns up roses, right? But if you take some risk and you're not afraid to lose it, because I can fix this, right? I might, I might not fix it all the way, but the world's not going to end if I lose this. Then I just think that's a very interesting concept in terms of our vocations and the way we run business. And you've got to be willing to take some risk if you're going to make bigger gains. That makes sense?
Yeah. Yep. And I'm glad you pulled that out, because I think that's the spirit behind that quotation more than a lot of the other things that we're talking about. It is a Stoic concept. It's not, we put a Christian spin on it, but you brought it back to the main idea of that quote. I think if we put it into the context of who Aurelius really was and what he stood for. Yeah. So good job. You didn't beat it to death. You brought it back to life, is what you did,
Good
Tim.
deal. How about that?
Made me uncomfortable.
CPR,
I'm still staring at the table. Made me uncomfortable.
Yeah. That's the quietest Jason has been in the history of this podcast.
I will say this one thing. Cassie can vouch for this. I don't know how many times in my life I have said to her, the worst case scenario is we go bankrupt and we start over. And that's kind of been one of those philosophies I've lived by. And
it's very stoic of you.
Well, it's just one of those things that I don't know. I think in a lot of ways, mom and dad set me up to learn to take risks. And I think if you ask both of them sitting in here, they will tell you that they both came from very risk averse settings. And so they push both my brother and I to not worry so much necessarily about outcomes, but just go out there and give life a chance. Don't be afraid to leave home. Don't be afraid to go try something new. And, I credit them with a lot of that. I'm not going to say they pushed us out the door, but they definitely gave us a firm shove. And in some ways we all do that to our children. But it was I will always be grateful for them for enabling me to go and take. At 17, I went to college and moved 5 or 6 hours from home to do that. And I was terrified of it, but they were like, you need to go do this. This is a good experience. And I wouldn't be where I am today if they hadn't pushed me to take some of those chances. And that's, I mean, that it's a blessing. And they were never ones that were focused on the stuff. They were just more focused on going out and living life.
That really was a gift from your parents. Hey, before our time is up, I need to mention our sponsor, Cobb Publishing. Go to cobbpublishing.com. The owner and proprietor, Bradley Cobb, is a very prolific author. He has several of his own books on there. I'm looking at Justified by Works. He's got a book, looks interesting, The Holy Spirit in the Book of Acts, and several other titles by him and many other talented authors. Also, sitting here in the Passages studio for more than a year now, I've watched Tim scribble and doodle on a piece of paper, and I've got this fantastic idea for a coffee table book of Tim's doodlings. I think it would sell really well.
I wish we had every sheet of paper he had doodled on, both from an artistic
get a little
standpoint.
wisdom and a little art
keep 'em?
all at once. You don't keep them?
No, just helps me to keep my mind engaged.
Hey, because it's all.
If I put a little
Doesn't
box
belong to
over
you
there, will you
anyway.
start saving them now?
Sure.
As you
Why
leave
not? Absolutely.
each
You
night?
know, let's be honest. It's probably
that.
like it's probably like his wallet, which he hasn't thrown away anything out of in 37 years.
Is that where you keep all your doodles?
I guarantee you, if we were to go to his house and look in his office, there is a stack of doodled papers.
You got a stack of doodles?
I think I do a pretty good job of throwing those away. We need to end this quickly.
Yeah, let's talk about stack of doodles. We have gone too long.
Yep, it's hit the 10:30 hour.
Hey, folks, thanks for sticking with us. This is episode 66, and we couldn't have done it without you. So keep listening to Passages.
Follow us on Instagram at Passages_podcast. And join us next time on Passages.